Ooh, well, a little chilly around here. Yes, open up the window, let the good sounds roll. Maybe the morning birds be loud enough y'all can hear it. So welcome everybody. If you haven't been to my lives before, today I'll be doing a sunset, or a sunrise. It really depends on how the coloring turns out on this big canvas here with a blue rose on some sort of banister or something. So I don't have it 100% planned, but I do have the general message, which is I'm just going to share some experiences I've had walking with Christ, and so maybe when He shows Himself similar to how He showed Himself to me, that you'll see what it is, and know to follow Him. Know what it looks like when He speaks to you, kind of thing. Not to say that, I mean, I don't know. I've had some pretty amazing times, but it's not because of me. It's because He's awesome. So there's a time in my life when I was down in the deep. I mean, I was a lot of the people I was being called to were like witches that were never going to turn, but I was in their life at that time. I know from where I'm standing now because of because I was telling them even then, there's hope. You can still turn. You don't have to be that kind of evil. So this time in my life, I had my message coming to people who I like knew it was for nothing, but my heart was still going out to them. So I was at one of these people's houses, and I was preaching because that's what I do. So we were talking about things above. We were talking about, you know, things of God, and and I was pretty sure of the two people that were there that they were not ever going to turn, but there was a third who was like kind of on the fence whether he even believed in God. Because see, the other two, they did believe in God very much. They also were fighting him. So it's like I knew that they weren't going to turn. Greetings to anybody coming visiting this later, by the way. So I knew that they weren't going to turn. But the third guy, he was kind of on the fence. And so I prayed for him, and I asked the God that would show up. And so he said, leave. And I was like, I'm not so quick to jump because I was still really young and the thing. So I'm not so quick to run away from a place. And then it was like everybody in the room just started going after me. It was on everything, whether it was my spiritual understandings, whatever it was. They were just started going after me to the point that I had to leave. I didn't have a choice, and so I left. And before I left, we were talking about fruits and things that would really show that it was God. Really, like He knows what we love special. So the man said, "I love cantaloupe." And I was like, that's a random thing. And I felt it in my spirit that there was something powerful there. So I said, okay, you love cantaloupe. Cool. So I went forward. When they all got mad at me, I went forward and I went behind this Kroger. And there's like a whole box of this cantaloupe. Like a whole box just materialized out of nowhere. And it was all like no bruises, no nothing. And so I took it back to the house with all the witches in. And the man was blessed on that. It's like I got to see the Most High show up. So yeah, this live I just kind of wanted to talk about some of my walk, so somebody will take some heart. Maybe learn how the Spirit was speaking. So there's one point I was traveling, and I mean I was completely out of my element. I was in a place that I had never been before. It was big city, people all over the place, kind of like a vibe like Portland. And people were just people are different in the city when you're used to a smaller town. So they're just kind of looking through me. But I had the spirit on me then, a lot heavy. So a lot of times it was like there was a blue line on the ground. And this time too, as soon as the person dropped me off hitchhiking or whatever, as soon as the person dropped me off, the blue line was there. So I grabbed onto that blue line and I just followed it. And sometimes it's so specific that I can see where my footsteps are supposed to be. Literally. So in this case, I was going through a place that like a big city that I'd never been before, ever. And the blue line was there, so I just kept following it, and I prayed that I'd get fed because I was really hungry. I was like, I don't know where the hell I am. I don't have a means to cook or anything, but I'd really love to get fed. Um, and then I followed the blue line, and I was asking for confirmations that I was going the right way and things like this. And every time I did, somebody would come up and be like, "Oh yeah, man, the feed's right over there." Like, I didn't even ask them, it's just like, "Hi, I'm here." And they were like, "Oh, yeah, you're going right around the corner of it." So, so yeah, I followed it and I ended up um being shown to a line. Like it was just a random line of people. And so I'm not new to food banks. So I just got in line with everybody. And sure enough, it was a feed, and it was like as much bread as I could take, as much canned goods as I could stock up on, and a hot meal. I just think that part is so amazing because it was just so direct. Like most I heard me. Okay, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm sure everybody's got their own lives going on. I appreciate the watch hours and just coming and chilling with me. If you hear me shivering a bit, never mind. I should turn the heat on, but I really wanted to keep the window open so y'all can hear the beautiful birds this morning. Yeah, I seen some beautiful things. I just wanted to kind of share what it's like. So I'll go to. So I used to be married to this woman, and we broke our union since. But when we were first together, I was really like I didn't want to do wrong by God, so I was always asking for confirmations that she was who I was supposed to be with. Well, there's this one day we went on a date, and it was like a rare thing, because we'd never been having a lot of money, so but we really took it seriously. We took every moment of that day to enjoy each other's presence and really get to know each other. And so we went to this McDonald's, um, of all places, and it was like in this little bit of a valley. So we had horizon all around us, and it got close to the sun started to go down and started to get a little bit darker, and we were sitting in the car and we're just reasoning it out and talking about mutual friends and life and living with Most High and everything. And I prayed again, confirmation that if this is who you really want me to be with, and I saw this huge rainbow, like it was a third. I never seen a triple before that, so it's like humongous, and because of our view of the valley, it just like it was all you could see, you know. But I had to go grab some kind of blanket or something. It's ridiculous. But hopefully, y'all can hear those beautiful little birdies. So whether it's a sun like that, so physical, or I mean, he uses all your senses, all of them. So smelling, in this case, hearing the birds, or seeing them. The hawks, like everything flying, seems to confirm the spirit so much. I'd be praying for things and or praying about things, and then just to drive the point home, he'll send like a bluebird, you know. So I'm gonna try to get these colors that really pop and try to keep changing out my brushes so I get the cleanest color. Ooh, Ooh, that one needs to be mixed up a little bit. Sometimes all that is paint thinner will be in the paints. Hi everybody, sorry I was kind of ignoring the chat. EM squared, paranormal walks. What's up, man? Good morning, everybody. I'm doing a test board for of a rose on a banister for J Royal. If you haven't been over there, you should. J Royal's good people. She's always very professional, full time working mom, and uh, and yeah, just very supportive of everybody. I think she said she's working today though, so I don't know if she'll end up being in here until later, but I'm sure she'll come back and do all this. So I'm just getting the basic colors for now, and then I'll go through probably again and do a similar pattern. But I'm just trying to make sure I get the brightest pops behind the clouds there. Sometimes I don't know how to do things. So in the end, I'm going to end up with the lake here, and then nice bright sunset here. But it's probably going to take a whole lot of layers of that yellow. And my talk is on just like personal experiences of how the spirit spoke to me that so when it happens with you, you won't be so surprised. You'll know what's going on. Because we change, he doesn't change. So he's ever creating. He'll come at you in a different way according to his purpose. But if he does choose to come at you like he has me, then at least you'll be a little bit more trusting. Yeah. Because really, if it weren't for God, I would have been dead for real. So my point in all this is just to share my personal experiences a little bit so that you can be edified, so you can understand. I've seen some wild things. I mean, and I ain't nothing. I'm just a little beggar boy. But I've definitely seen some prayers answered. Like one time my sister has always kind of done her own thing. She's always been a powerful individual. But when we all had a really rough childhood, and she most of all had a rough childhood. Oh, and for many years she was kind of stuck in it, and I can't really blame her because it's hard to get away from it. And then eventually, it just her brain just blocked it out, all of it. And then there was a long time of denying herself. But through all this, she just drew a certain kind of man, and kind of egotistical dickhead. She just couldn't help it, even though her first husband was a good egotistical dickhead. She just drew this certain kind of man. So we were praying over the phone that she would find somebody because now as a grown she has lots of kids and is very fertile, has to be very careful. I mean, she had her tubes tied and she still got pregnant. Um, and so we were praying that she didn't waste her time with any kind of jokeness, that she was, find her husband. And we were being more specific, which is what the Spirit was really leading me to at the time, is be specific in your prayers. So we were specific, and I prayed that he had a good job, and I wouldn't care if he was a police, just as long as Megan didn't become a police. Sorry, we throwing names there, but just these things that I thought were really small at the time. And it was shortly thereafter that she met her current husband, who is awesome. Honestly, he's a prison guard of all things. But just the way that the Spirit spoke to me, and then now to give my sister hope, and then follow through. Because I mean, I don't, I don't even get it still how it all worked out like it did, but it sure did work out, you know. And they are amazing with each other and for each other. And my sister's getting healing from all this shit, and is being able to be a good mom, you know, being able to get closer to God. So yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna jump on here. Sorry, brother, just dropping a like. Nice paranormal walk. Did you know that on Amazon you can create a wish list? You can create one and share a link, and people can give you gift items delivered to you without any of your personal information. Cool. I just thought maybe since you're painting so much and building your channel on prayer and art, it might be nice to be gifted supplies. Yeah, it would. I got. Oh yeah, that'll lead me to my next story. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear. Yeah, yeah. My sister's testimony is pretty awesome because we had an incredibly awful childhood and she got the worst of it. I'm just gonna tell the truth. But yeah, so yeah, gifted supplies. So I've been gifted a lot of canvases and paints and all this, and just like overnight. I have a certain friend that so I learned a long time ago that certain things, if you make a big old boast out of it, it becomes about you and not about God. So when it came to supplies and food and and what I'm gonna wear and all this, I know it's God that provides that. So there was a certain day I was like really feeling down on myself, man, and I was like, I'm grown and I can't afford to put clothes on my back. Like I could afford to continually put clothes on my back because I'm resourceful, but I'm grown and I can't afford to, get nice things. I need some new socks, 50 cents a pair. You know what I mean? And so I was praying all this, and the Spirit said, just go to your work. And so I went and did my work. And as soon as I showed up, first of all, the lady was up and she was going and she already had breakfast for me and everything. I mean, it was a real bright, shiny morning, you know. And she says, "My husband wants to talk to you." And so I was like, "Okay, he's kind of kind of a I don't know, like he's always encouraging wherever he's at. I don't know exactly how to put things sometimes. But anyway, so she says, "All right, so my husband wants to talk to you." And so I go and talk to him, and he's like, "Look, you need some nice stuff. I'm gonna take you to Sam's Club, and I'm gonna buy you at least two pairs of pants and at least two shirts that you can actually wear and you can take to work and you can dress nice." He said, "But I'm not gonna buy you anything you're not gonna wear. So that's why you're going with me. I'm just gonna go pick that crap out." So that whole day I ended up at Sam's Club picking out fresh socks. Just saying. Another. I'll be on some silly stuff sometimes though. I'm glad y'all tuning in. I appreciate all the family I got on here for real, y'all. Key to me. I'm all about this community. And as I've ever said, I've got such an amazing group around me, for sure. This is totally fulfillment of the word. Honestly, fulfillment of what God told me. And I'm very much encouraged in y'all. Sometimes that word come out of people you don't expect. I mean to say that you don't even agree with sometimes. Like there's a certain before I found twins, there was a certain person here on YouTube that I'd like go to his live a lot. And I really didn't know a lot of lives. My feed was pretty much Indian ladies staring at the screen. Um, and there was a certain guy on here who I actually still have a lot of respect for, even though once I finally figured out his doctrine was wrong, I just couldn't be behind him anymore. But it was like every time that I came into his live, it was like the spirit was talking to me. It was like through him, whatever. If he was talking about clean up your act, if he was talking about whatever, I'd see little confirmations in there. So even though I knew his doctrine was off, even then I knew his doctrine was messed up. But that the spirit chose to move through him, and so that said something to me about his character. So I just kept coming back and just kept encouraging him against the false doctrine. But eventually, it did come to. I just had to be like, okay, I'm not part of that. You know, you can't be part of the fruits of the spirit and then be having hate. That's just not how it works. It's like God can save anybody right where they're at. Whew. He can answer their prayers as only he can. You know? Yeah, for sure. That's why I really like this group though, because it's like all kinds of walks of life, but that same heart, that same heart to want to encourage and be uplifting to each other, and there's hope. Shit, don't give up. I don't care who you are. God can, will, and does answer prayers right now. And it's by grace too. So as much as you don't see, I'm gonna get cleaned up to get closer to God, but it's only by grace that you're gonna find your way to God. Because we can't never be clean enough. For real. Alright. Let's get green. Ah, yeah. I'm gonna highlight it later. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the darker colors and work my way lighter with highlighting. I'm gonna try to make this a pretty quick one and pretty on topic so that somebody can come back and view it later too. And it'd be sort of beneficial to them. I've really been putting a lot of thought and energy into YouTube, I guess. But how to present something that can really bless somebody because it's bigger than my channel. That was not gonna work. EM2, I appreciate you. I wish I would have caught your live the other day. Oh, it's like that sometimes too. So like yesterday there was something that went down some kind of crazy drama, but the point that I got involved or not got involved is that the spirit told me to go to a certain live, and then I didn't get there in time, and by the time I got there, the live had ended, and then all this craziness went down. It was like if I would have been able to get there just a little bit earlier, maybe I would have been able to see you, help, something. So it's like that sometimes too. I don't know. I'm kind of screwing around a little bit. Just trying not to mix them so much so that I get that color variation. Which is nice. So, if you have anything in your life, as ever, that you think will be uplifting, I fully encourage you to put it on YouTube because there's enough crap on here to fill an entire encyclopedia's worth of encyclopedias. Like, holy boom, boom, boom. And it's just crap. Honestly, there's a whole lot of it. And we need more people doing things, even if it's whatever your gift is, too. Like, I'm not so gifted at engagement, so you won't see me like talking to the camera like that. But I am gifted at telling you stories, so. Let's see. What's another one? The blue line. So I followed that blue line a lot through my life. Like, that was a sign that kept coming up, and it was confirmed by rainbows and birds and all things flying, fruit on the ground. Like, at different point, whatever it was that I was eating, it was confirmed in. And so I followed that blue line a lot. And sometimes it would lead me, um, to nowhere. Honestly, to where it seemed like I was there for nothing. But it'd just be the littlest head movements. Just the littlest things that could bless somebody. So I think that during that time I was being used as, um I don't really know how to put things. I think at that time I was being used as a confirmation for people, and that it wasn't about me seeing it. It was more about God just doing it. And so I followed this blue line a lot. And there was one day when I was out doing my regular thing, scavenging up cigarette butts and all this. If I'm telling you the truth, that the spirit said go this way, and it was a way that was deeper into the town in a way I don't usually go. I said okay, and it was like I could hear a drum circle in my head. It was like I could feel my roster friends. It was like I could feel them calling me. as I was walking. So I just kept following the blue line, and it led to a certain park. This was a really wide park, lots of green grass, and then like a little bit of a park down in the valley. And then I started to really hear it in the physical, that same drum circle that was already going through my head, and that blue line got more intense. And so I followed the blue line, and it led me to about the middle of this big old grassy knoll. And it was two of my friends that one was had definitely been with me, and I knew him very well, and then another one that I actually went to school with and got to know him better after we were adults. So it's two of my good friends, and they were doing a drum circle. Um, and so then the spirit told me, like, slow down, and told me, show your respects to the people and to me and to the place. And then so I did what he said, and I kind of like bowed to his majesty, and then got whatever I had as an instrument, which I think I had some sort of shaker or something in my pocket. And then I started playing along, but very humbly, And then I just thought that was so awesome that after walking halfway across the town, I ended up at a drum circle. For sure, not the first time that's happened. I've been told to sit down in certain circles and just watch him. That's probably been the most blessing times when it's just do what I say, boy. Sit down here or trust this person. I've had people highlight it to me, which is a term I've used on here just because I don't know how else to say it. It's literally like that. Whether it's their voice, whether it's their face, it's like there's a light on them. Sometimes that's just part of the walk too, is seeing that and then knowing that the people are different than uh well, that people are people. Yeah. That they be different than their gifts. I mean, yeah. That's looking good. Wow. Hey, I appreciate y'all just hanging out, listening to my little spiel here. I hope whatever walk life you're in, as Ian 2 says here, that you're using it and just being real with it and just trying to help somebody. Because as much as you can throw stuff at them in hate or whatever, you can do the same in respect and in love and dignity for a person. And sometimes just that being shown that dignity, that you are human. So so there's a certain time I was in further towards New York, and if you know about the country, then out in like Cali. So I'm from Indiana, so here it's like a middle ground. There's a whole lot of hate, and there's also little patches of amazing people. But mostly what I had experienced was kind of super judgmental, materialistic kind of people. But I hadn't experienced it to the point I did in Cali where people would just look through me. But there was still, even in the midst of people looking through me, there was still those that would like encourage me and you know. So, but when I got to New York, I was completely blown away by just the like I had people that I'm pretty sure were crazy, 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 but they had my back for real. Like, and then I had a whole lot of people that had a whole lot of hate. I didn't know how cold the people could be until I went through New York. But of course, true to style, Mustache showed up with me, so that blue line was on the ground, and I just kept following it around all over the place. Ended up at this one coffee house, uh, like a coffee house for the homeless. So they had like board games and puzzles and stuff like this. I ended up at this place, and man, I was needing everything. I was needing food. I was needing clothes. I was needing everything. And most of all, I was needing guidance, you know. So I was looking for guidance. I was looking for why I was there. I had a certain friend that I traveled with in California, so I knew that that was part of the reason I was like in the town at all. But I was more specifically, why am I here in this place? And there was a lot of crazy, and I was able to help um, bring a little bit of sanity to it because I mean I've seen real crazy in all the psych wards and things, but there was like I don't know, it's just darker for me. But in the midst of all that, the line most likely led me to this one place, and then I was being provided everything: cigarettes and food and coffee and good company. Even though I was in a dark place where people would just look through me, even in the midst of that, I was provided a place where I was treated with dignity and I was able to help somebody. So sometimes it looks like that blue line, but sometimes it's not so plain. Sometimes it'd be your enemies. Like uh, like of late, I was in a job that I was looking for confirmations, honestly, because the spirits told me some things that were pretty pretty beyond me, pretty high, and so I was looking for confirmations of that. And so I got put in this job with this one lady that I knew pretty well from previous jobs, and I was pretty sure I knew her character, and it turned out I was wrong. And I got to work with her and her sons, and then they all ended up being like really super racist and on hard drugs that I never could be down with, but they still praise. They're still talking about Jesus. So, I mean, I went with it for a while. I mean, I really tried to see past the sin to and pray for them to be blessed so that they would see it. But after a while, especially once they gave her authority, she just kind of broke. And so she would show up and be obviously tweaking, messing up. But through all of it, I really tried to stop my judgment because in my heart, I'm like fearful, you know, somehow it's going to hurt me or mine. So I really tried to hold my judgment. But when they did say racist things, I'd be like, man, is that really how you want to be sounding? Is that really what you believe in? You know, like let them back up their stupidity with more stupidity in the hopes that they would see. But I really try to keep my heart on doing His will in that time. And eventually it came to heads, and she was pretty far into her drug use, and there wasn't really anything I was going to be able to do to keep her there or to keep her at that. Even where she was definitely going to sink, and I could either go down with the ship, um, or try, and I did try up to the last minute, and eventually she cornered me and just like, I don't understand what's wrong with you, like went ape shit and off her authority. But even in that, I just looked her in her eye and I was just like, I'm not doing this today. Just leave me alone. And it was all demonic, man. It was all demonic. So sometimes it looks like that too. It looks like him raising enemies just to show you how powerful he is. Because in the end, she ended up not working there anymore. I mean, she was fired a long time before I was. But that place was dark, anyways. But sometimes they'll lead you into that dark to show you how bright he is and clean you up. Because all that, it'll show you what's in you that's like that too. Which is what happened with me, basically. I got a microscope put on me because of my light. Because it was like, well, he's light, so he must be perfect. So it did bring out a lot more righteousness, I think, through that experience. But sometimes it's like that. It's like his answers are raising a foe against you so you can show how powerful he is. Check up on that chat. Yeah, New York is different, faster. Everybody's all full of hurry and worry. And his name is John Cena. Okay. Well, I hope you're having a good morning too. His name is Jesus Christ. Oh, and that's the other point is the intercessor. And so this term was kind of brought to me a long time ago, but I didn't really get it. It was one of those words that I'm like, I gotta look that. But I did get it finally when it was like I had things that I mean I couldn't even bring my heart to pray and or explanations for my sin in some cases, or whatever it may be, things that were bigger than me that I was trying to pray for, I was trying to help. And the Spirit would show up and he would fill in the words for me. And he'd show my, I guess you'd say my brain, show my mind what my heart's really trying to say. And this has happened a lot. Yeah. So I don't really know what I know about Christ as it is, but I do know a whole lot about walking with the Spirit. So whatever I lack in scriptures, I definitely know and walking it out. As long as I keep my heart right. Always got to keep my heart right. My heart of service, then he blesses a heart of service. So that's why I come to you all today in a heart of service. I want to bless somebody. Keep your head up, no matter what it is, whether it's a divorce, whether it seems like the whole world's against you. If God's for you, there nothing. It's nothing. Who can come against you? Really. And it will all fall. It's temporary. But his up doesn't fall. It doesn't fail. And family will always be there. He'll always provide those people. He just always has for me. I don't know why it would be any different for you. So you draw people according to your lust. You draw people according to what you're after, right? According to the things that your heart really cares about, the things that you want to be like or you want to emulate. Then if you're about getting closer to the Most High, then you're going to draw people that are about getting closer to the Most High. On to my next story. Dun dun dun. So I know I'm a super dork. I hope that I'm bringing the realness to you guys, that I'm not just like feeding you nonsense, because these are just a couple of stories of how God showed up or how the Holy Spirit speaks. So there was a day when I was working this job that I was really new to, but it was I have the part of the gift where, as I said, like people are highlighted if they're going to be part of my life, or they're supposed to be, I'm supposed to teach them something. And it's really a lot stronger when I'm around people that are going to be like more long-term part of my life. And in this place, I was fresh and new, maybe like a month into this new job. And first of all, I'd already had visions. I'd already had dreams about this new boss. And so walking into the job wasn't a huge deal. But he really stressed if you get along with the people and do a good job, that you'll always have a job here. So I was hopeful, but I just got burned really hard by the place I was at before that. And so I wanted to be really sure. And so I just kept praying my butt off. And the more I prayed, the more work I got. The more they were like, hey, so you did this the other day, right? So can you do that right now? And so I put down my dishes and go and do this, or go and make bread, or go and unload a truck, or whatever it is. And so one day I'm doing this and I'm grabbing the broom and I'm running this way and I'm running this way. And it's like the Spirit had the timer in my head, you know? So I was just running, trying to keep up with that. And and I was just praying my butt off, like, send me a confirmation that I know for sure is the confirmation. And the Spirit said, knock and the door shall be opened. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. Let me keep on running, because he's still showing me the timer, so I'm still running and doing my job to my utmost, like I'm working for him. And and there came a time when the timer started to run out, and he's like, hurry, hurry, because it's about to happen. And so I hurried and I put away the broom, I cleaned up my mess, and I got myself right where he said to be, right by the back door. And then somebody knocked on the back door. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I just opened it, and it was you, a friend of mine from Brazil, long dreadlock dude who I had never seen in my town ever. Like he was only ever where I came from. So to have him appear, uh, miles and miles away, right then, and the first thing my first of all, he was like, "Brother Kevin," and then he's like, "Where's Daryl?" You feel me? Um, and it turns out that my friend had worked there before and had been friends with a person that worked there and all kinds of stuff that I didn't even know before that moment. But to just have my brother walk right in the back door like that, I was sure that I was at home. And so I stayed there for a couple, let's see, I was there for like 2 years after that, and then I left for a little bit and came back for another year. That's pretty long for me. I get pretty wasted on fake authority, but I like that job especially because it's like my boss he was with it. So some like the prophesying moments that why words seem to be have so much emphasis sometimes. It's like yeah, they just have so much more impact sometimes. And he understood all these things. I mean, I learned a lot off him. And sometimes the spirit looks like that. Yeah, it's starting to look like a pretty good sunset. Pretty generic, but that's okay because I want the rose to really pop more than I do the background. Let me get caught up on the chat here. I love painting. I once tried to make a landscape, but honestly, it did not look great. By the way, your painting is amazing, sir. Thank you, Kenmar. I'm listening to you while you paint. You're better with engagement than you think. Well, thank you, EM2. I think you should go live. I think you're way better than I am. And I think I'm kind of just sharing experiences. Can you? Oh, can you please show the bear painting closer? So this is what I tried to do on as just kind of like a little sketchboard last night. And now, see if I got the. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see with the glare where I'm pointing. I tried to do this just as a little sketchboard. I'm trying to go for a koala bear, but I've not got the coloring right. I've not got the dimensions on his head right. So, but I wanted to be sure that I knew what the rose looked like, and I've looked up a couple of green screen things that I can use as green screens to get the petals just right. I've been really thinking about where the light would hit to make it look most realistic. So yeah, that's just my scratch board there. And then this guy is a sunset we've been working on. And this is gonna end up being a rose, but I haven't got there yet. So I'll probably use that as like a color palette to do the rose. It's gonna be on the little balcony here. Well, thank you. Koala was my grandma's favorite. Nice. Yeah, it's what J Ro asked for, and I've never tried to paint a koala ever. So my teddy bear is about as close as I've got. It's just not quite right yet. Yeah, you do good, Ian Square. He said, no, I'm shy. I'll try though. You should do it. It looks like a koala bear. Aw, she's not here anymore. Yeah, neither is my grandma. She passed on. Sometimes that's what it looks like too, to tell you the truth. I had one friend named Chuck. And I think I've talked about it on here, but I I've never really trusted the church. My grandma went to a church when I was really young, and it was just like there just always seemed to be some sort of drama when it came to the adults of the church. Like the kids of the church were awesome, but small-minded kind of things, but still pretty awesome. But the adults, it was like there's just always some sort of drama, always somebody looking down their neck at somebody. So I guess I was a little jaded. So even though I was taking in that God's real, even as a little bitty guy sitting in the main hall, um, I was taking in that God was real, but I was also seeing all the bull crap that comes with being a human and trying to be with God, right? So all the judgmental nonsense that people be praying all the time. Um, but there came a time when my grandma kind of came to the same conclusions that I did, and she pulled away from this church that she'd been going to forever because the minister just was off, you know. And it would be better to be in company with the Most High than to go to somewhere because of what other people think. And so she didn't go to that church anymore. But she started getting older, and my grandpa got older, and my grandpa came to retirement age and then retired. And within about 2 years, just everything health wise, he went from upright and working to not so much. So, or maybe it was more like five all day. But so in this 5 years, he managed to tuck my grandma away with enough to get her by after he passed. And then he got to enjoy being around great grandchildren and grandchildren and all this. And then he passed when I was in Cali. Um, and he went easy, you know, no real no real thing. It just started losing blood one day, and then that was it. But he never was that worried. Very quiet man, but he always had God, you know. Well, my grandma, when she was getting older, that was what he spent his last years preparing for that, as far as money went, and setting out retirement and being sure that she was educated on, you know, because elders they can fall for some things when they get forgetful, and so she was educated on like scam calls and how people will try to get your money twice and how certain bill collectors will do these things. She was just a good old fashioned lady, you know. She'd just been a good wife all of her life, so she didn't know these things. Well, so once he passed it kind of she did her part to get ready for her passing. And then there came a day that she couldn't stay in the house anymore because she forgot to leave the stove off. And so they had to move her to a nursing home, but it was like the last minute. Um, and then the nursing home was awesome. She had always told me that she was actually looking forward to the nursing home because like all of her graduating classes in the same nursing home, you know. So the nursing home went awesome for her, and after about 2 years, she finally passed. And at the point that she passed, she was just at peace, you know. Well, it's kind of similar for my friend Chuck. I met him at that Christian church, and he was like a old hippie kind of guy. Well, we were in a Bible study and all this, and then one day he just started to get sick near out of nowhere, and he did about like my grandpa did. He tried to do and made sure the house was paid for, made sure there was money set aside that like a cap on it, so you know his health bills could only go to so far, and then they would just call it. You know, it's all about his wife being able to make it through the rest of her life, and to sink money into somebody at a certain point, it's like, eh. But he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and then almost immediately went um and turned orange. I forget what it's called. Septic, no, septic something else. But in any case, almost immediately he went and turned. He started turning orange, and then just tried to stay up as long as he could. So sometimes God answering prayers is giving somebody rest like that. On the night we actually all saw him before, and it was like literally the last 2 weeks he was down in the bed. Like up before that, he was up and having coffee with everybody and doing the thing, even going through chemo and being bald and all. But there at the very end, we all, I mean, to be honest with you, just prayed that he would get peace, that he wouldn't have to worry, that he could feel like he could let go. And then even as we were praying, because I was messaging somebody in our prayer group, and even as we were praying over this thing, it happened. So sometimes it's like that, that God answers. And what a blessing way to answer to. Just that none of us had to worry about him, you know, and he didn't have to be in pain anymore. So I'm just gonna keep on trying to mess with the sunset colors here a little bit more and a little bit more, and then I'll probably put some really bright clouds over it or something nice like that will be the general idea. EM Square, I'm glad that you came in today. I hope you're having an easy day. Did you hear that? I love it. Sometimes it's like that. Thank you, Joe. That's a good bird sound, too. I be getting a little nervous over the crows. Maybe it's just that time of year, but I don't really like them crows. I always used to joke with people that I'm going to take my BB gun with me just to be sure I got something to shoot at the crows. Give the hawks something else, a little bit extra food in there. I'm just slowly and easily trying to blend whatever excess yellow is there and just blend out the colors. And the brighter it is here, it will be perceived as brighter here if it's darker out here. So as I go, I'll probably mix in a little bit of dark blues around the edges. Just trying to use this really bright red to put the emphasis. Wow, that does look pretty decent. It's not incredible, but I'll take it. Thank y'all for tuning in today. A little bit there. Good. No big deal. No big deal. Yeah, it's like y'all answered to my prayers and you don't even know it. It's all to God's glory, for real. I'm so glad that He's taking care of all of us. If you have any kind of ways that the Spirit spoke to you, or if you have any kind of stories that are along these lines, I would be more than happy to listen, for sure. I think it's so awesome the way that the Spirit speaks to people according to His purpose. So there was a time in my life when I had to um, I wouldn't say friends, because friends implies that like I'm going to some middle ground or I'm gonna have to give up something, or I don't really know how to say things sometimes, but for sure I had some people in my life that were not just friends, that they were there because God very much had them in my life, so that we could learn by each other, so I can teach them off the bullshit that I've been through. And so one of these friends and me were sitting on my back porch, my apartment there. It was like the middle of the night, maybe 11:30 at night, and and the Spirit was speaking heavy that night. I was like, it like almost palpable. I mean, the moon seemed special bright, it seemed wild, wild bright. And my friend, he spoke to God in a different way, I guess you'd say, where I had seen a couple times before that nature seemed to be a way of a confirmer. If he would say something that of emphasis, then you'd hear like this bird, you'd hear something like that. So we're sitting on the back porch, and he says, or the Spirit says to me, "Hey, get up, you should go to the mailbox." And so I'm like, questioning, I guess you say. And so I was like, I said it out to him. I'm like, "Hey, we should go to the mailbox." And he was like, "For real, Kev? For real?" And then in the middle of the night, I hear, "Treat, treat, 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 treat. Treat, treat, treat." And so we hit the door, man. I don't think we ever been out of that apartment so fast. We were down the street, and then the blue line popped on the ground, man. And as I was walking, it was like there was somebody at the mailbox, and so we were trying to hurry up, like we felt both like we were supposed to be talking to that person or something, and at the same time, like that, there's like a protection bit. And so we wanted to get down there and get watch after whoever we were supposed to be watching after. And as we were going up there was a person at the mailbox, and then there's two dark shadows that were so real to us that we both thought that they were actual people. And so we kept going. We thought maybe we were seeing some sort of robbery. Maybe God was trying to get us, up there in time to stop a robbery. And as we got closer, we saw that it was just one female. And then as soon as she saw us, she just ran off. And those two other, and we both saw them, like it was very much real to both of us, anyways. And so those two things, they just disappeared. It was like they were never there. And as I was walking to the spirit was like telling me, putting footsteps on my ground in front of me, and I was doing what he said and saying what he said to say, and then stuff sounded a little bit wild, because it was talking about, like, did you see that up on that hillside? So I went on about a week from then, and then there was the same series of events happened again. So I was sitting there, and I'm smoking on my back porch, and I'm looking out, and there's this guy that comes out of near nowhere, and he's sitting staring at the hillside. I lived at the back of this apartment, so anybody being up my way was sketch anyways. And we had had a lot of people, like a lot of tweaker activity in that time, so we were all already on alert. Well, this guy, he comes all the way up to my little hillside, and he's just staring at the hill, and like I guess watching squirrels or something. I mean, at first I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just let him do his thing. And he started talking to himself, and he was saying the same things that I said when I was running down the street. Um, and so they sounded wild to me, but they also sounded like obviously exactly what the spirit was talking about in that time. And so I went out because I felt like, man, I got to see what God's talking about here. I got to get out in the middle of this and figure out who this guy is. And it was just some random dude that, I mean, random to me, anyways, that was, I think, tripping on mushrooms or something. And so he was like, got paranoid as soon as he saw me and he tried to run away. And then as he was walking, he was taking the exact same steps as I had when I went down there to the mailbox. So he was doing the exact same steps. He was saying the same things. And he's like, "Oh, I don't, don't mess with me. I don't want anything," which was like the same exact things that I was saying. So I tried to at least watch after him. I mean, I put the word out, and by people seeing me, they like knew not to mess with dude. So I think I was part of protecting him that night. But I never saw dude again, and he didn't seem highlighted to me. I mean, he seemed like a person that knew God or knew of God, but he didn't seem like he was somebody that God was calling me to. So I didn't feel so obliged to mess with him too much. Ooh, I'm gonna put in this little banister here and check the chat again. Thank y'all so much for coming through today. Thank you for backing me up in all these ways. I've really enjoyed my little experience. It's been kind of put me on the edge of what I'm comfortable with too, because public speaking and such is something that I'm called to, but I'm not so comfortable with. Can I tell you the truth? It's like my insecurities come out sometimes, and then I say weak shit. So I've really been trying to go out of my way to push myself to not say weak stuff, and to come with a real message. Talk to y'all like your family, right? We have an owl outside our house that we hear every night. Nice. They get loud. They get loud. They like to come up to these pine trees. It was right before I moved in. There was a whippoorwill. Those freaking little vermins. I had the first spring I was here. We had one that came up in the trees, and he decided to go away really quick that year. But right before I came here, there was one that took in these trees, and it would wake my landlady, it would wake my lady that I live with. It would wake her up like every morning. Whoop, 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 whoop. So I'm glad that he's not here anymore. Frustrating little booger. So yeah, in all your ways, honor God. So he's always gonna kind of put you outside of your comfort zone. That's another part of it, because where you fall short is where he shines. So where they're obviously they're very, very clear that it's not you, then he's gonna get the glory, right? So he put me in some situations where I even deface myself, not to say like walk around naked or whatever, but although that does happen in the Bible, he's told to just walk around naked. Another part he's told to fry up human poop. Never mind. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. God was like, okay, then cow poop. I'm just playing. But do you do God? That's some wild stuff that he's asked the prophets. So, what was I saying? I forgot. I don't know. But he's always gonna put you outside your comfort zone. That's just like part of God because he's the one that challenges you. And like if you don't have that in your life, you'll realize how important it is, even though it's kind of a pain sometimes. But to have somebody who, especially somebody, but God Himself will all on His own. But to have a vessel, like to have somebody in your life who really will give you sound advice, even if you don't agree with them, but that they'll actually go and they're trying to bring you the best of themselves. Um, yeah. So it kind of looks like that sometimes too. You just got to take it all in, grain of salt and all that. I kind of lose track of where I'm going. I think a lot of times with these, I've had this message or this general idea of a message, and so the whole time I've just kind of repeated the same thing and not even known it. This time I'm really trying to change it up and uh, and just show you realities of life with the Most High. And so maybe it'll spark up something in you and continue that conversation, continue that prayer, because that's where the church is. That's what's the most important. Don't let nobody lie to you. Otherwise, it's most about walking with God. He does care about the sin, but he cares about the sin because it hurts you. Because he's a good father and doesn't want you to get hurt. Like the understanding the character of God is key. Because after this, that's what we're gonna be, don't you know? At least that's where I'm hoping to be soon enough. Come on, humanity. I think we could have something like that in life. Something about a life after death, but heaven on earth, man. That's what I'm going for. The community around me, whether it be electronic or reality. I mean, say physical world. It would be amazing to be brought to a city of us. Can I just say, I got a pretty close second here, but still, it would be pretty awesome to be brought to a city of just the people, just people believing, encouraging, loving people, and to be led by the Holy Spirit in that place even more intensely than I think I'm able to be led here. It's all about receptivity in it. Okay. So I'm just mixing up browns, trying to make this here banister. Cool. Thank y'all for all the likes. Thank y'all for coming through today. Even the people that went away and they're already in, I hope that those seeds take root. We can get a couple more real people out here because we need it. For real, because there's some more brother, sister right now that needs your encouragement. There's somebody who needs you to catch on to that word. And to be honest, there's not a lot of people out here doing it. There's a whole lot of people who think they know. But when it comes down to it, they're still more about their judgments than they are the service. So what do they really know? What do I really know? Whew. Word to God, exposing stuff. I think that's one other part of it is just like when you're real, people can see what your real heart is. Then maybe it's like a fear, like I'm gonna say something incriminating, but I should know that the Lord already tells the people about my story because He's the one who gets the victory. Because in the end, it's a collection of Him answering prayers. Honestly, most of the most amazing things in my life weren't things that I did. It's things that He answered prayers on. I mean, I've seen great people that I believe were humongous stature. I've seen them get leveled by the Most High. And I've seen my enemies die and not have bodies to bury. Like, that's, oh my God, part of the testimony. So, as much as I'd be afraid that I'd be exposed, I'd be more afraid that that little kid that's going through that shit doesn't know that the Most High answers prayers in His time, that He gives our enemies every last chance, which I think is pretty awesome. And He will take care of us in the meantime. That He will. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. So He will absolutely move. Now, even in my case, as a mature adult, I still wish that my enemies would have started talking to Him instead of deciding to continue down the road that they did. That eventually led to them becoming the most fucked up humans I've ever met in my life, and uh, and then led to them and their whole family like died. There's no nothing. They got taken away by a hurricane, pulled into the ocean. Like what an epic way for God to answer a prayer. But I mean, I waited for years and years and years. In my heart, I was not right, and the Spirit kept telling me like, you have to forgive. You have to move past it. You can't let them have power over you in your unforgiveness. Like it's more about getting to my mind state than getting your vengeance out. Because I was like praying curses on these people that have done these awful things to me, and the whole time the Spirit's telling me, you know, through parables, through the Bible, through walking out, through speaking straight to my mind. However, he's telling me, forgive like I forgave you, and so they can't hurt you. Take that thorn out of your eye, you know. Ain't it? I think that's the words. And so I'm gonna put some dark right here to emphasize that corner. Give it a little more three dimension. Hi, Pixie Dust. Yeah, Pixie Dust is awesome. She does interactions with people. I like going in there and just checking in with her and seeing her sweet smile because she does have the sweetest smile and like adorable laugh. But she's also taught me a lot about YouTubing and building a channel. She's taught me a lot about interaction as far as I don't know. She has a lot of really cool people, really community building kind of people that come through her live and do the same thing that I'm doing and just show respect and show love. So yeah, I definitely like stopping in your live. Thank you every time you share. And thank you for answering a lot of my questions as far as this YouTube and stuff goes. And for giving me suggestions, for sure. Sometimes that's what the Spirit of God looks like too. And when it comes, you can't never be like, I don't know. He just pulls it from the most unexpected places so that you don't worship that person. So it's like I would have never expected you to be able to, or well, to be level enough to tell me what I needed to hear, but you sure did a lot. So sometimes that's what it is too, or mutual respect for the word, and then it gives you the word. So in all things too, I've noticed in a lot of the really bigger answers that he provided a witness, someone that afterwards could say, yeah, that really happened. And so, and when it comes to it, if you are a witness, you should say, and I don't mean that in like you witnessed a murder, but like certain people have a blessing on them, and the Most High will put other people to see it so that they can point it out, if that makes sense. I think this live, I'm just kind of going with the Spirit. I'll tell you the truth. I'm just jumping back and forth to whichever story comes to my mind because I have a lot of them. I be poor in money sometimes, but I got a lot of stories. I got a lot of answers, prayers. Pretty amazing way. My mom too is in a very similar way, and we were talking on the phone, and she's had a relationship after relationship, but it was just unhealthy. Man, they didn't have respect for each other. They didn't have a balance. After the honeymoon period wore off, it was just kind of like, well, what are we doing now? You know,
And so I was really just praying that she would end up with a balanced man who understood where she was at and understood that, like my one brother, he's got disability of autism, and in his case, it comes out and being like a little slower on the books, and then I think it's like the PTSD that leads him to be like protective over physical things, like he cares a lot about physical whatever. So I wanted her husband to understand where he was at and to understand autism enough to not be fooled by the label, because that's one thing is like my brother really just like me, like I can't you can't treat me like I have one eye and then expect me to do extraordinary things. Like you have to be like, okay, so you're blind, deal with it, doesn't stop me, doesn't stop them. So I really wanted the same thing for my brother, that somebody that would be able to just guard my mom's heart, because you always want to go way out of your way for your kids, especially if they have disadvantages in life. And boy, he answered. This guy, he's a retiring, so he's got like 2 more years before he retires. But he does trucking, and he wants to give my mom his own space. I mean, as soon as they officially got married and they started going to church regular, which is something that's never been. They started going to church regular, and he has a son with a disability too, severe profound kind of disability. So he definitely understands, and he's just a good Christian guy. And most of all, that he really watches after my mom, and he really gets like the spirit tells him what's going on as far as my brother goes and my sister and all this. I just Sometimes it looks as marvelous as that. It looks like that is answered prayer. As for myself, every time I pray for a wife or something, or I pray for a companion, and I didn't even understand these words until I prayed them. Honestly, it's like I didn't really get that that's what a wife was, even when I was married. So yeah, I was steady trying to be. I don't know. I think a lot of my brain's been teamed up. It's been fixed up since those times. That was a long time ago. But every time I have to go to pray for a wife, he answers with a companion. So it's like sometimes your answers don't exactly look like what you think, but it's all according to his purpose. And it's lovely. And it's lovely for real. And if any of these companions are a foreshadowing of my wife, oh boy, I am in for some cool stuff. Because y'all are the most lovely people. Kings, queens, whatever. Y'all are the most lovely people. So if that's the foreshadowing, I'm about to have women who gonna keep me on my G. Y'all for real made me live up. Oh, this is turning out pretty good. I need to do a little bit more on them leaves there. Give it a little bit of a brown hill back here. Little island. Little hills. Slowly blended in. Hi, Rilla. Back here. You can be too. Real one. That's the one. Be a big advocate for everybody. I appreciate how you've been taking your lives lately. Just getting real with the people. It's the way to be. Using it as an opportunity for y'all to build the community. I'm with it. That is what I would like to be doing right now too. So, if y'all ain't subbed up, go ahead and jump around to each other. I have real solid heads on my moderation crew here. be building as we go. My general rule is if I've known somebody for a little bit of time, then I don't usually put them as a moderator, but they just be walking through. So, but if I know them for a little bit, then put them as a moderator in here, start building this community. But chances are y'all already sub to each other because that's the way this goes. Because we're really, and it's like just a few heads, you know. Not that many rooms yet. We're building slow, ain't we? No, it really hit me at the beginning of your walk around the mall, though, that you like. There's some people I know I don't have. They have social anxiety issues, and they don't be getting out a lot, and so I have an understanding of that. You know, it's like everything you were saying was just the Holy Spirit working your heart and get ready for that live to just run around and enjoy the moment with everybody for a minute. And I just, I don't know. I just want to say that, show you a little respect and appreciation, bro. Definitely a big advocate for the people because I don't know. Like I hadn't had too many people be highlighted on here, um, before before this latest bit. It's been there was like one, like I said, that one preacher man who I would come to lives to watch him because the spirit would confirm what he was saying. So outside of him though, I hadn't really met a lot of people who had that same charge like what I've seen in actual like people around or whatever. But this latest crew is like everybody be all over the place. It's like must I just decided right now. Let's come together. Need somebody to uplift you today. Bam. And I've been praying over. I've been praying, and then like if there would be a day, I've been like, man, I would that kind of vibe. I'd really like to check in with them today, and then it'll just they'll be on. Like some cases, immediately they'll be on. In some cases, just later. You know, everybody's got their lives going on. I don't say things like that because I want to burden anybody or nothing. But I just think that's so cool how the spirit be confirmed like that too. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's the blue line. Sometimes it's the spirit moving you in a way. So like, will remind you of how you screwed up before or something, and then get you around people who are currently screwing up, just so you remember that you are a human, and so you be a little bit more forgiving, and so you remember that God forgave you. So maybe you'd be the only person who'd be so forgiving with that person. And you might just save a life. You might just change a person. I mean, and it's not you, it's really God, but all the while I'm happy with that. Even if I mean, even in my case where a couple of the people who I had the most influence on, I mean, they're past. Um, but I don't have to worry about them, you know? Yeah, sometimes it looks like that too, man. I don't know, I've shared this experience before, but there I had one friend who was like one of the truest friends to me, and her name was Dorothy. And sorry, I'm just trying to listen to the Holy Spirit, make sure I'm coming with it right, because I don't want to mislead anybody. So my friend maybe wasn't the most like righteous person as far as that goes, but she had a heart, man, that she would back up everybody. Everybody. She didn't care if you were black, white, male, female, big guy or the little guy. Like if you were the one getting screwed over, she was about to back you up and even more than she would back herself up. And so I worked in a place that they were really Nazi about like not letting you go to the bathroom, like stupid stuff. Like, oh, we have to give you a break. You can just pass your break, you know. If you really want to do it, you can just skip your break. You know, it's like this kind of stuff. And she just came in every day and worked her butt off, and like was getting no kind of credit as far as the people loved her, but as far as management goes, they just treated her like dog shit. They gave her a special shirt, but they didn't give her any kind of boss training. They talked a lot of crap, but they never really wanted to train her up. But this friend in particular, um, I just loved her because she would back up everybody. She did not care. Like her judgment was to the ground. She thought shit of herself, and so she thought amazing of everybody else, and she was down to start a fight for somebody. And so I always adored her. And my town's kind of small, and I didn't realize before meeting my sister just how stupid my town still was. Like I had a idea that it was like a lot more bright and full of lovely people than it really was. But when I started to become friends with this person, it was like people I wouldn't even expect are coming out of the woodwork talking about she's lesbian because she's got short hair, or like she's damned, which is of course bullshit. How are you going to tell me? Ugh. So in any case, this friend, she really showed me her personality throughout her in our entire friendship. Whether it was I really needed the good company and I prayed for a good friend, and then she would get a hold of me on Facebook, or there was some days it was just like that's because I knew her heart was so true. That was literally the only person that I wanted to see. And then the Lord would have it that I'd run into her at the gas station, or I would have it that I would run into her in some way and be able to just hang out with her for a physical moment. Because sometimes you just see people, but there's a difference between seeing them and actually being able to talk to them. So there's a lot of times he would answer like that, and I would get to see Dorothy. Well, one of these last times, I was having really, really, really bad dreams about her dead and in a physical coffin, and the spirit kept coming to me. Well, the spirit, uh, yeah. So it's all one in God, right? So the spirit of death started coming to me and telling me that her mom and dad were gonna die, but didn't tell me. I didn't hear about Dorothy. But then I was having dreams in my sleep about her in a casket. Um, and so every time I talked to her during that time, I that was in the back of my mind, and I was just trying to. I figured it was an attack from the devil, so I just kept casting it away. And the more I casted it away, the more it started to get more specific. And there came a time when this image of this van on a certain road was in a really bad accident, and uh, and then more of the casket scenes. And so I was really disturbed by it. I was really disturbed by it. And so I was like, well, if this is really about Dorothy, then let me see her. And so I went to the gas station on Spirit Go Do This kind of moment, and I saw her, and um we started talking again, and at the time it was just like the story where it was be specific. That was the prayer, be specific. And so I asked her what would be a thing that would really prove to you that it's God, and that you should pray for that. And she said, I'm just so tired, man. I'm just so tired. I'm just so sick of getting hated. And I just want some rest. And then about a week later, and I was having dreams of that van. And then she ended up getting a new van that was exactly like the one from my dreams. And so I was trying to tell her, like I was going to warn her or something, but the spirit wouldn't let me tell her. But then she ended up passing. And then I ended up seeing her in a casket, and it was not pretty. They messed up her makeup. Which, you know, if you never wear makeup, there's not the one time that you want to be wearing makeup. Like, no, don't put no makeup on me. My sister never wore makeup, so they tried to do her up like a doll. It ain't work. Nietzsche Lee. Hello, friend. So today I'm doing a test board for J Royal. I'm going for the blue rose on a banister overlooking the lake sundown. So this is about exactly what I was going for. And my message was just trying to share some experiences of how God spoke to me in the past, and hoping that it can bring some comfort to you guys so that when he speaks that you be more sensitive to it. And so you just do what he says even though sometimes it's painful, man. Sometimes it's like telling my friend about my dreams. You know, it's just sometimes it is what it is, but it's always for our betterment. It's always to help somebody. Just even if it's weird stuff, go leave this place, and then like my witch stories earlier, like even if it's weird stuff, just follow Jah. Almighty, just trust Him more than you trust yourself, and you'll be just fine. You might just see little birds chirping. You might see blue lines on the ground. You might be told to say certain words, and it may just prove prophetic. These things seem bigger than you when you're going through them. Let me tell you, it seems bigger than you. Like I didn't even mean to say that. You know what I mean? That's how it came out for me, anyways. It's like wow, I didn't even. I never would have saw those words to end up being that either. You know. So this part, I'm just doing the finishing touches, and I'll probably be on later on too to do another sketchboard of a koala. And I'm looking to do the koala bear with the blue rose final painting by, if not well, not tomorrow, probably Thursday. But just trying to get stuff out of the way. I've also got another painting for Rome Dog to come, and then that will end that set. If you guys ever have any kind of suggestions of things that you would like me to review or show things about painting or whatever the case may be, I definitely would not mind, as well as any spiritual discussions. Honestly, if there's different parts of it that you like to get some clarity on, not that I'm gonna be able to be the middleman, you should definitely go to God. Along with that, if there's points in it where you feel like I could bring a little bit of clarity, I'm definitely down for it. And I might not answer you right off the bat, but I'll definitely put some thought into the thing and come back and put some scripture into it and come back and bring you the answers. But it's really only, it's nothing if it's not confirmed by God. So, you definitely need to not consider me a middleman for sure, because I fail, but He never does. Get a little bit of color in here. I'll end up using that same paint here. Just trying to get a little bit of shading. The difference in color will give it more depth. It's a very subtle thing. The eye picks up on the most subtlest parts of painting. I love those impressionist paintings where they're just like big. Like the overall definitely is something, but if you zoom up, it's just like little dots of color. I think that was impressionist. I might do something like that with the rose one day. That'd be cool. Oh yeah, if you're a member of this community and I'm not speaking on you, I'm sorry. I'm really grateful for all of you. You are definitely making this experience a whole lot more enjoyable. Although I would be likely doing the same thing whether anybody else showed up or nobody showed up, or it was a bunch of people from Australia wanting to talk about boobs on my page. I'd still be encouraging and painting, but it makes it that much more enjoyable when I got good people beside me. I appreciate all of y'all's contribution to the community. Everybody's always backing each other up. That's why I like this, yo. And pray that you keep hope, man. It might not look like a lot it might not look like a lot, but it start with a little bit and then grow into something. Well, yeah, that was nice and loud, bird. Thank you. For sure. For sure. Thank you, Jack. Put a little bit of highlight on that rose. Oh, I'll get chat caught up in the chat real quick. Nice, yeah, King's cool. Hi, Coffee. Hi, Divine Light Lee. Divine Lil Lee. Cool. I like your name. I don't know who you were before, though. Is it Nikki Lee? No. Okay, well. Good morning, King. Nikki Lee isn't here. Hi, Nikki. Coffee. One of my oldest clients wanted me to do her mother's hair while she passed. I didn't find out until afterwards. Ooh. Oh man. I don't know how I'd deal with that. Yeah, Grand Rising. Oh, I'm trying to remember. It's like I know I was just on I think you're live like yesterday, or you were on live with me. Just my brain, man. But EM2 is here for the she's here for the mission. Can I just say that? Just since day one in the cleanse, like you're definitely here for the mission, man. I appreciate you. Hopefully I can catch you next time you went live for real, cause I feel bad the other day I did miss yours. But it sounds like the family showed up for you, so I'm grateful for that, you know. So this cobalt blue, you just had to keep on putting it over and over and over. You just had to keep on putting more layers of it to get the color to really pop. It's really easy to do like shading stuff with it because it lays on a thinner layer. So if you want to have it look a little less in some spots, um, it's really easy to do kind of shading with it. I'll probably end up going through this with a really detailed marker or a really close paintbrush in the darker blue and really emphasizing the rows a lot more because it's so small on the canvas. But I figure this is a pretty good sketchboard for the first one. So yeah, let's get a look at the final deal. And I'll be back in just a little bit to do another one. My next one will be, well, finishing this one, but I'll probably do that off the camera. And then my next one will probably be a koala bear. I've been sketching and watching videos and trying to figure out this animal. I'd never seen him, but I do. Never really seen one in real life, but I've seen all kinds of pictures and whatnot. I did try to get the dimensions on this, but the nose needs to be farther out, and it's like a bigger nose, and it leads straight into the eyes. So I feel like I need to do a little bit more, or maybe do a green screen. Ooh, wait, I did have green screens of roses. I completely forgot about it. I just want to try out some technology real quick, see what happens. Hopefully, it won't fry up my set. Ooh, that didn't work. That is a lot. That is a lot of green screen. All right. Uh, no, no. I'm back up. Do you commission? What does commission mean? You mean like people buy paintings or people that buy paintings? 'Cause I definitely do. This is one of those on here. Asked for a koala bear and a blue rose, so this is my attempt at it. But now I've got the blue screen stuck. I'm not sure how to take it off. Green screen. No green screen. There, off. Woohoo! Yeah, double tap that screen. Yeah, I do commissions, at least lately. Especially be good word prompts. What I usually go off is like two ideas that I can put together, and then I'll do two scratch boards in a main painting. So this is one of my scratch boards. Later on, will be a koala, and that's going to be very interesting. Or J Royal, if you haven't been to jroyalcandles.com, or candle, not plural, single J Royal Candle, or her website on here, which is on YouTube, which is J Royal Candles. But in any case, J Royal is awesome. She's a full-time mom and a nurse, and she works her butt off at work and then comes online to support everybody. And you can always find her in family chats, always being encouraging to people. So this is one's to her, and I'm gonna end up. I think she's gonna end up getting this as cheap as I can possibly get it, just because
just her utter devotion, man. I have absolute respect for that woman. All right, so I'll probably go off here for a little bit, and then I'll be right back with a koala bear. Thank y'all for all your time today. Thank you for hanging out with me. This has been a lot of fun. I'm really glad that you showed up, Ian, too. I'm glad that you came, Nikki Lee and Coffee. Uh, King, it was nice to re-meet you. I'm very sure that I was on your. I just had to remind myself. I'll probably go onto your page and like up some stuff when I get off of here. Divine Lee. Man, I wish I realized. I wish I knew what that profile was. Who I was really talking to right there. Yeah. Real came through. Pixie Dust came through. Give y'all a last minute here to sub up to anybody. I'm not sure who these people at the very beginning of the chat were, but they were very supportive today, and I appreciate you guys. Um, Entrepreneurial Diary came through. Paranormal Walks. I'm not really into the ghost walks myself, but I like the way he presents it. It's very tries to break it down very scientifically using instruments. So yeah, I'll see you later on the koala bear. I'll give y'all, let's see, about 10 more seconds or so. If you wanted to run through the chat and sub anybody up. 5. Just say more time if you need it. All right. I'll see y'all later. Thank you very much.